Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k. We're on our countdown to Christmas, of course, the 11th of December. So hello to our Necron players and also hello to our Tyranid players that have jumped over from the Tyranids channel. And if you are new around here, hello to you guys as well. Why haven't you subscribed yet? Hit that subscribe button down below to not miss out on these daily videos till Christmas Eve. Now the Tyranids so far have been taking a little bit of a battering, I'm not going to lie. They've had a couple of wins, I think. But we're going to get on to another one today with a comparison video for the Triarch Stalker, so the Necron Triarch Stalker versus the Tyranid Carnifex. Now, the reason I'm doing this comparison is they both shoot, they both fight, they're both 125 points per model, so it makes sense to do a unit comparison. So we're not doing a who outshoots who, we're not doing a who outslays who. This is purely a unit comparison here, because what I'm finding is when you do the who outshoots who, reanimation protocols just seems to save the day for Necrons, and they kind of do about the same amount of damage, but then reanimation protocol just gives the win every time to Necrons. So I kind of want to give the Tyranids a bit more of a fair leg up in this sort of comparison videos. So that's what we're going to do, just a pure unit comparison. Right, let's get into the unit comparison. Starting off with the statistics, the Triarch Stalker is moving 8 inches, the Carnifex is also moving 8 inches. Fair so far. Toughness 8 on the Triarch Stalker, toughness 9 on the Carnifex. Carnifex with that one. 3-up armor with a 4+ invulnerable save on the Stalker, with a 2-up armor save on the Carnifex. Now obviously the invulnerable save is more valuable, but a 2-up you can't just brush that aside because even -2 AP puts it on a 4-up anyway. So it's only -3 AP onwards where it actually is worse than the Triarch Stalker. So it's not actually that bad, but I do prefer the invulnerable save there. Wounds 12 for the Stalker versus wounds 8 with the Carnifex. Leadership 7 versus leadership 8, so the Triarch Stalker wins that as well. And OC4 versus OC3, the Stalker wins that one as well. I've kind of got to give it to the Triarch Stalker in this case because that invulnerable save I think is key. Even though it's got slightly less toughness, it's got more wounds on top of it, better leadership and a better OC on top. So I think I'm giving that one to the Triarch Stalker. On to the abilities. The Triarch Stalker now has Scout 8 inches, which I think is fantastic. That's a core ability. I think that's a pretty good unit to be putting into the No Man's Land, getting it onto an objective. OC4 is not bad for this kind of vehicle at 125 points. So you can get, No Man's Land, extend battle lines nice and early. You don't need to have the flayed ones, doing their infiltrate potentially, because if you've got an 8-inch Scout and then an 8-inch move, that's 16 inches. That's all you should really need. If you're not going to make it, you could advance, but really you should be making the No Man's Land objectives. As for the more unique abilities that they've got, the Triarch Stalker has their targeting relays in the shooting phase. Each time this model is selected to shoot, after resolving its attacks, if an enemy model was hit by one or more of these attacks until the end of the phase, that unit couldn't have the benefits of cover. You're basically removing the benefits of cover for the rest of your army to shoot at. That's the Triarch Stalker. The Carnifex has Blistering Assault, so each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, after the unit has shot, if any models in this Carnifex unit lost 1 or more wounds as a result of these attacks, this unit can make a Blistering Assault move. If it does roll a d6, adding 2 to the result, so potential was minimum of 3, maximum of 8 inches there, and you can move the distance up to those inches. You must finish your move as close as possible to the enemy unit that was actually shooting you, and you can actually move into engagement range, which is kind of cool. And even if you don't make it into engagement range, you've just made your charge move on your next turn much easier, I suppose. It is capped at once per phase, but this could apply to Overwatch as well. It doesn't say the shooting phase, it just said selected to shoot. So that is a really good ability, so I've got to give that point to the Carnifex. Range attacks wise, well in fact all the weapons wise, let's go through the Triarch Stalker first. You're going to select one of these 3 options, one of these 3 options. One of them though is 2 different profiles. So the first is the Heat Ray. You've got 2 profiles with the Heat Ray. The first is Dispersed, Ignores Cover, Torrent. 12-inch range, 2d6 attacks which are automatically hitting, so an average of 7 hits. Strength 5, -1 AP, 1 damage, ignoring cover. Now of course as soon as you hit that target when you're auto hitting anyway, you're unlocking Ignores Cover for your army, but this is a really good anti-Termagant kind of weapon. It just literally melts Termagants. Now if you want to change the weapon up with a different profile, you go with the Focused Heat Ray, which is Melter 4, 18-inch range this time, only 2 shots, hit on 3, strength 9, -4 AP, d6 damage, If you're at half range, which will be 9 inches, d6 plus 4. That can actually get quite nasty. That's the first option, so there's 2 profiles that you can switch out, very similar to the Zone Throat, which you can switch them out, battle round to battle round. The Particle Shredder is next. It's got Blast and Devastating Wounds, 18-inch range, d6 plus 6 shots, hitting on 2 still. Now they actually nerfed a lot of the particle weapons to hit on 3s, but these still hit on 2s. Strength 7, no AP, 1 damage. Again, it's another decent weapon against Gaunts. It's also decent against anything because of Dev Wounds and Blast. So it's a weapon that is going to hit and you've got a bit more range to it. But of course you can't select this alongside the heat ray, it's one or the other. And the twin heavy, no, it's not a twin anymore. I've got that wrong on the actual picture. Forgive me for that. It's a heavy Gauss cannon now. So they've removed twin linked, but they've given it extra attacks. So it is 24-inch range with lethal hits. You've got 6 attacks now, not 3, but you've lost twin links, which I think is better. Your Bliss Skill 3+, Strength 8, -2 AP, 2 damage. So this one now with 6 shots with lethal hits is quite nasty, especially against Space Marines. With the -2 AP, you put them on a 5+ armor save. I think I like that weapon, although I do also like the heat ray because it's got a bit of flexibility to it. Now the melee weapons, the Stalker Forelimbs, 4 attacks, hitting on 3, Strength 7, -1 AP, and a flat 3 damage. Now the damage is nice, but you've only got 4 attacks. So, and the AP isn't high either. It's just a bit of a bonus. These things have never been that great in melee, really. I think they should be, but they just haven't been. So that's your options for the Triarch Stalker. What about the Carnifex? The Carnifex has got a lot of options here. A lot. So they come standard with the Carnifex Scything Talons, the Carnifex Extra Scything Talons, and the Chitinous Claws and Teeth. So let's go through those standard options to begin. So the Carnifex Scything Talons, which is actually the second of the blue. In this blue section, it's the second line. But you've got 6 attacks, hitting on 4, Strength 9, -2 AP, and a flat 3 damage. So very similar to, you know, your Swarm Lord, your Hive Tyrant, the big weapons. No extra abilities there, just pure damage. Now the extra attacks are pretty much the same thing, but 2 more attacks. So in total there, you're going to be having 8 attacks if you were to use this combination. And then of course the Claws and Teeth as well on top. They're just extra little melee hits there, nothing big. But you've got a lot of options, as you can see at the bottom of this table. Any number of models can have their Carnifex Extra Scything Talons replaced with one of the following. So the extra attacks, the 2 extra attacks, you can swap them with either the Death Spitters with the Slammer Maggots, the Devourers with the Brain Leech Worms, 1 heavy Venom Cannon, Stranglethorn Cannon, or Crusher Claws from the Carnifex Crush Claws. So you've got another option at the bottom. Any number of models can be equipped with the Bioplasma, and any number of models can have the Spine Fists. Now there's actually even more options here. I know we've gone on a bit, but you can actually swap out the standard Carnifex Scything Talons for the Death Spitters, Devourers, or the Crushing Claws. So you can effectively have 2 lots of Death Spitters, 2 lots of Devourers, if you wanted to, which means, for example, the Devourers with the Brain Leech Worms, if you've got purely range attacks and no melee, you'd have 24 shots at Strength 6. An option, a good option. If you wanted purely Death Spitters, you'd have 2 lots of Death Spitters, that's 12 shots. At 24-inch range, Strength 7, -2 AP, 1 damage. So you've got options there. My personal loadout, I think, would be the Carnifex Scything Talons, so your standard melee attack of 6 attacks. And I would probably either stick with the extra Scything Talons for the extra attacks, or go with something, I don't know, I'm thinking the Stranglethorn Cannon, or the Heavy Venom Cannon. I think one or the other. I don't think I'd go with the Devourers, even though it's 12 shots. I think if you're going Devourers, I think you go double Devourers. That's for me. But you've got to give that point to the Carnifex. There's just so many options that you could do. If you want a range Carnifex, you've got it. A melee Carnifex, you've got it. A bit of both, you've got it. The extra weapons, you've got them. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Now let's check out the synergy for both of these units. I'm going to stick with the Carnifex because that's the order I've got here. We didn't really mention this at the start, but a unit could actually have 2 Carnifexes. Now I know that wouldn't make a fair comparison because they're 125 points per model, but we're talking synergy now. So you could have a unit of 2 of them, which would be double trouble. You can in fact further boost this unit by adding Old One Eye, which is a leader for the Carnifexes. He's got the Alpha Leader ability, which allows the entire unit to reroll all hit rolls. That's nice. That's melee and range. I think that's a super powerful combination. It does get quite expensive, but Old One Eye is a bit of a beast. He's basically a Carnifex, but with that ability. Detachment-wise, if you're looking at the Invasion Fleet, Sustained hits 1 if you're going with all the anti-light infantry stuff. Lethal hits if you're going with the big weapons, the Scything Talons, the Venom Cannons. There's also Rapid Regeneration, of course, to give yourself a Feel No Pain save for the entire unit, that is. Of course, we are talking about 1 here, but you could have it on the whole unit. The Assimilation Swarm to be healing a unit with the Harvester unit nearby. Secure Biomass, which is a stratagem in that detachment to gain lethal hits. Synaptic Nexus, if there is a Synapse unit nearby, which this isn't a Synapse unit, but if you've got one within 6 inches, you can have these certain buffs for the battle round. 5+ invulnerable saves, nice. +1 to advance on charge, nice. Add 1 to the hit rolls, could be nice because they were hitting on 4s, I believe. Crusher Stampede is obviously the monster detachment, that's probably where you'd go with these. If they are damaged, it's a +1 to the hit roll, and if they're below starting strength, +1 to wound as well. Crusher Stampede also has the stratagem where you can move through models as if they weren't there in your movement phase. It would only apply to non-monster vehicles because they act as if they were your friendly models, and of course you can't go through other monster vehicles with a monster vehicle. So you've got to remember the rules, guys. But yeah, you can also do Desperate Escape tests for free as well. Well, not for free, you auto pass. Cool. Rampaging Monstrosities, I like this one. This is just to reroll your hit rolls in the fight phase if you don't have a One Eye. There's a lot in Crusher Stampede, you know. You can add Ignore's cover with the Swarm Guided Salvos. It's also going to make sure all your characteristics are not modified. You've got Massive Impact, so it's effectively Tank Shot for monsters, 1 CP. But there's a lot of stuff for the Carnifexes. I quite like the fact that you can take 2 of them in a unit. Used to be 3 though, but 2 is okay, especially if you've got a One Eye in there. Now the Stalker, the Triarch Stalker, as we have to mention this at this point, reanimation protocols of course is a big thing. Healing D3 lost wounds in our command phase. The Awakened Dynasty, you can have a +1 to hit enhancement of 35 points on a character. Not bad. I mean, it's not going to help with the heat ray, especially the first part of it, which is auto hitting. It's not going to help for that. You've got the Protocol of Hungry Void for a +1 to the strength characteristic. We were strength 7, so putting it to strength 8 could be handy, although it is only 4 attacks. Protocol of Conquering Tyrant to reroll your 1s. And that's just from the Awakened Dynasty. From the Obeisance Phalanx, this could interact because it's a Triarch Stalker. Now, I know there's a few issues with the keywords here. I think they're going to FAQ some stuff. Apparently, it doesn't have the Triarch keyword, but there is a stratagem that shows that it must do. They're going to sort that out, I'm sure. So with the Obeisance Phalanx, a +1 to wound, which is their detachment roll for a selected enemy unit in a battle round. Enslaved Artifice for critical hits on a 5+, maybe good for your lethal hits. Nano Assembly Protocols, giving a -1 to all damage against vehicles. That would apply to this vehicle. And then you've got the +3 OC stratagem, although that does need to be FAQ'd, but it would put him on OC 7, which is good, it's good. Technomancers to heal, D3 lost wounds in the movement phase. Canoptic Spiders to give a Feel No Pain within 6 inches for a 6+ Feel No Pain save. But all in all, I think there was more synergy with the Carnifex, so I'm going to give that one to the Carnifex. So to conclude this unit comparison, there's a few major points of note. The Carnifex can be taken in units of 2 and have a natural leader for a 3-man monster team or 3-monster team with alpha leader buffs. I think that's a key thing. They've also got a larger selection of weaponry, a larger range of weaponry. Definitely more nasty and melee on top of that. They've not got 4 attacks like the Stalker. They've got a buttload of attacks. 8 attacks with the monstrous Scything Talons, I think is good. Damage 3 each. And even at range, the Carnifexes are semi-decent. You've got options, Heavy Venom Cannon, Strangleform Cannon, Double Devourers. There's a lot of options there. But I personally would stick to the melee side of it. And also their ability is just superior. The Blistering Assault move can maybe get you into engagement range, but at least get you moving up the board, which is what they need to be doing. It's only really the statistics that the Triarch Stalker actually wins this fight on. Everything else, the Carnifex wins kind of hands down, and even the statistics, the Carnifex wasn't that far behind. So we've got a Tyranid winner today. It's been a while. Has it been a while? Did they win yesterday? I can't remember. I've been doing too many videos, guys. But that has been the 11th of December. I will see you tomorrow on the 12th. See you then.